Cuba has been the secret getaway for tourists for many years, but the country is currently undergoing fundamental change. Fidel Castro's brother Raúl has opened up to the West the last socialist paradise on earth. How is the population doing in this new society between socialism and capitalism? I was born in Havana, but for the past 10 years I've lived in Germany. On this journey through Cuba, I want to find out how the people are coping in this time of new beginnings and to rediscover my home. My journey begins in our capital, Havana. The city of 2 million on the Atlantic Ocean is the largest metropole of the Caribbean. If you're here to study the Cuban way of life that combines a party mood with improvisational talent, then you've come to the right place. Improvised are the cars, for instance, which dominate the streetscape. The same heavy automobiles have graced the roads for decades because almost nobody could afford a new one. Old cars were simply continuously renewed. I'm going to need some wheels for my journey, so I head for the outskirts of town, where the people still mostly fend for themselves. The road leads me to my own past as a mechanic. I visit my old friend Planche at his garage. I was the one who taught him his trade many years ago. Hey, that's a long time ago.
And I'm still working here.
What are you working on?
I'm repairing this patch here.
Are you working on that one?
Yes, that's the one.
Damn, how long has it been?
16 years, even if it does seem like yesterday.
Do you remember how we met in the garage?
You wanted me to work for you, but I was working in Pelota and Martiano's garage. I said, all right, and you were funny. As soon as I was with you, you said, I'm off on holiday.
I'm on holiday now. But I have to say that I learned a lot from you too.
That's good to hear.
You inspired me to change my life. That's why I gave up my job and went off to study music. Do you remember?
Sure, you used to sing all day at work.
I used to sing all day.
You sang while you worked.
I think you were the one who said to me that I'd chosen the wrong occupation.
Many others did too, and I think you found the right one now.
Damn. Let me hug you. Can I borrow one of your cars?
My car's your car.
Damn. Thank you, brother. Is this the one in order, or is it broken down?
No, that one is in perfect order. It's just a screw that doesn't tighten properly. It's loose. It makes a noise, and for safety's sake, it has to be tightened.
Let's have a look.
This has to be welded. The rest is in perfect order.
Let's do it.
Yes, why not?
Thanks, my friend.
This is just like old times.
Let me seal the gaps. Who knows when I'll next get an opportunity to do some welding. Done. Tell me, has it now become easier for Cubans to get a car?
I think that in general it's become a bit easier to have a better life and to own things that were perfectly normal in the rest of the world. but extremely luxurious here. To have a car, to be able to communicate, things that are simply vital in this world, which is moving so fast.
I understand what you're saying. I think it's cooled down now. Let's start her up. I'm very happy indeed to have a car, even if it's not the fastest in the world, and a bit of an adventure to drive. I gave up my career as a car mechanic in order to become a singer. I was lucky and was accepted at Havana's world-famous Tropicana Club. That's where we're heading next. This cabaret theatre first opened its doors in 1939, and during the 1950s, stars such as Nat King Cole and Josephine Baker performed here. In the audience, you might find Edith Piaf, Ernest Hemingway, and Marlon Brando. And to this day, the Tropicana is one of Cuba's most popular attractions. It feels absolutely wonderful to be back. And I'm very excited because I'm about to meet my old teacher, who, while I've been away, has made his way up to artistic director.
Oh, Fernando.
Maestro.
How are you? How long's it been?
A long time.
It's been so long.
10 years.
10 years, a whole decade. How nice to have you here. Here where you launched your career.
Where I received my education. Shall we go this way?
Nothing has changed here. As you remember, the magic doesn't happen here until evening.
And are they the new dancers?
They're the school's new dancers, yes. New class of students for this year. You were among them too once.
The new dancers, how nice.
This is what we call our great umbrella. This is where we perform when it rains.
I can remember.
This is the other famous hall of the Tropicana. It's being used by the school now. Those are the new students. Fernando was a singer here, and he went to the dancing school here too. Then he went off to launch a career in Germany when he was in the musical The Lion King.
So keep at it.
Never lose sight of the dream of becoming an artist. That's the most important thing. These are dancers who work as teachers. They teach the girls style and elegance. They need to be able to dance the popular dances elegantly too.
When I was at school here, we had lessons 3 times a day.
And they still do now. And there are daily rehearsals of at least 2.5 hours because audiences have to be able to count on one thing: quality. This place is an example to all the rest. It's the performing arts Mecca of Cuba. And you can't sit back and let matters such as quality slip. That's the legacy of my father. The Tropicana has been famous since 1939. There were other cabaret theatres like the Montmartre and the Sanssouci, but they were more like French revues. But here we had rumba, son, the curache. Here you could come for authentic Cuban music. And it's always been that way, right up until today. That's why it's so special. It's 100% original Cuban.
Each year, 60 dancers start the course here, and only 40 or so complete it. The Tropicana is the only school in the country where you can become a revue dancer, and it's still a springboard to possible global fame.
The Tropicana will survive. It stands for excellent artistic work and for what it means to be Cuban, that which defines the nation. That's why it is unique and will outlive us all. Thank you for remembering us and returning to your seminal roots.
I'll never forget my time here.
Good luck, even if it's something that I shouldn't say to a performer.
Thank you, Maestro. The Tropicana is just one of the many attractions of Destination Cuba. Never have so many tourists come here as they do now. The country can hardly cater for the influx, but there's a lot of money to be made in tours, the restaurant trade, and accommodation. Cuba desperately needs that money to repair roads and renovate houses. The old architecture is Cuba's greatest asset. If Cubans don't invest now, then it may disappear forever. Fortunately, there are people who campaign for the preservation of the old buildings. I visit the Oficina del Historiador, the office of the official Havana city historian, where people work to protect and maintain valuable monuments. Havana's inauguration as World Heritage Site by UNESCO is due in no small part to the efforts of this office. Magda Risic Aguirre shows me around the old city from above.
The city has not just been spruced up for the tourists. Havana is home to many people and a very vibrant place. I think that makes it so appealing to visitors, the fact that you're able to come into contact with the people who live here. The greatest charm of the place may well be, in fact, the habaneros. They're a kind of tourist attraction unto themselves.
Magda, since we're on this nice terrace, would you show me a building that's currently being renovated?
That tall building over there is Havana's capital. It was constructed in less than 2 years in the last century and is of great architectural significance. It's not exactly a copy of the Washington, D.C.'s capital, but it serves the same function. It's our bureau's biggest project. We're completely renovating and refurbishing this most important of buildings. It's an incredibly ambitious project, and when it's finished, the Cuban Parliament, its National Assembly, will move back into it.
The Office of the Historian exploits the boom in tourism to finance the renovation project. We're breathing new life into the district, and with that, it's becoming more attractive. Private entrepreneurs have to pay taxes, which flow directly into the renovation budget. They don't want any skyscrapers erected here.
Havana's charm has been preserved because it has escaped the clutches of property speculators that have radically changed the cityscapes of other Latin American cities. Havana has been preserved in its entirety, and with that it has become a magnificent example of the colonial epoch. We are well aware of how special and significant this is. We must maintain this singularly unique characteristic of Havana, for it defines the city's allure. It is what brings people here from all over the world and what they so much admire.
The priorities in the renovation project are quite clear to see. For the time being, it is confined to the areas visited by tourists. Other Havana districts are being neglected and facing rapid dereliction. The climate eats away at the buildings, and houses regularly collapse due to material damage. The renovation of the city centre is of huge benefit to age-old trades and crafts. Traditional craftsmanship is undergoing a renaissance. In this carpenter's workshop in the old city centre, they're working on the window frames of colonial mansions. The workshop has stood here for more than 20 years, But only now are the orders for restoration work coming in thick and fast. Hello.
Fernando, how are you?
Fine, fine. So you recycle timber to build the parts that you'd otherwise be unable to get hold of. And where do you get the wood? Do you recycle wooden beams from collapsed houses, for instance?
On occasion, when houses collapse, we'll take the opportunity.
Then you take the wood and the windows. The carpenters have done a lot of work on schools and hospitals, and many of the commissions come through the city council. The carpenters have now also, however, been granted license to work independently for whomever they want. So that means that today, anyone can come to you with a job, even private individuals?
That's right, but only as long as we're not working on a project for the state. As soon as one of those comes along, we have to cease all work for private individuals, trade license or not.
So the contract with the state takes precedence?
Absolutely, we literally have to drop everything.
Thank you very much for this interview. Thank you, my friends. There are so many aspects to Cuba. Everyone here makes the most of the little he has. The daily struggle against the adversities of life takes great effort and strength, but Cubans refuse to be beaten. It is a sentiment and atmosphere which yields lots of energy for ideas and dreams. Art and culture play a large role too. The art scene is becoming increasingly vibrant, which can perhaps best be seen in Romerillo. Cacho, Cuba's famous and most politically active artist, helped reshape the district, and in addition to his own work, works by other artists can be admired here. Cacho is Cuba's biggest star in the art world. He has his studio in the Romerillo district too. The Estudio Romerillo Laboratorio para el Arte. It is, however, much more than a mere artist's studio.
Welcome to my organic museum.
Thank you.
Everything all right?
Fine, thanks. I'd be very interested to hear from you how you came up with the idea of an organic museum.
This used to be a district of 12 blocks with 6 garbage containers. The streets were full of potholes and sewage which found its way into the drinking water. There were leaks everywhere. It was awful. The main objective was therefore to create collective spaces in which people could become active. We resurfaced the roads, installed street lights, cleared up the garbage, and built parks. We created a community undergoing change. I see it as a work of art too, of course. I make installations, and I am a sculptor. But this here has to be my biggest and most complex installation. To be able to see how people's lives can improve makes one think. And of course, I mean to inspire and motivate others.
And this wall here?
This is one of my works. They're bricks that I'm handing out to the people. If you want to build a 4-square-meter room, you need 2,000 bricks, and a brick in Cuba costs between 5 and 10 pesos. So you're going to need at least 10,000 pesos, while 500 pesos is considered to be a good monthly salary. This artwork was born out of the acute desperation of people's plight. This is a project I'm preparing for China, an exhibition. It's a great honor.
Cacho, Cuba's son.
It is my first exhibition in China, the first ever exhibition by a Cuban artist, in fact, in that great nation. We're very happy about it indeed.
You're like an art ambassador for Cuba. China is one of the largest art markets in the world, and Cacho intends to bring Cuba to it. Until now, nobody has seen any of the sketches and designs for the exhibition in Shanghai. The political dimension of his work is unmistakable.
This work is called a minute's silence. It is dedicated to the dead, the people who perish at sea in search of hope. When you enter the room, they stop for 1 minute, then they move around again.
What a fantastic idea. And this year?
That's a cauldron in which food used to be prepared for the slaves.
An original from the time.
Exactly.
Wow.
This is also a very important work to me. It's called Few Words. It's a boat and its sail is a harp. I take out the harp and fill it with water, root vegetables and a pig to make a caldosa, the traditional Cuban stew. We make it on my birthday and for important feasts with lots of people on cold days. Out in the street, Cacho's caldosa is very popular and everyone comes. The boat is coming along to China too, as is the caldosa. You can get a whole pig and 55 gallons of water in there, and the stew is stirred with an oar.
Wow, qué idea más genial.
Everybody loves it.
Cacho's unconditional loyalty and friendship with Fidel Castro makes him a controversial figure in Cuba. Proximity to the Comandante has brought with it privileges. Some call him an opportunist. Nevertheless, his commitment to the people cannot be dismissed. On his premises, Cacho offers a service unique to Cuba: free WLAN for all. It's an absolute sensation in a country that, for all intents and purposes, is still offline. His password is "Down with the blockade."
This is my revolution. I give the people what they lack. It's how I was brought up.
Thank you, my friend.
My pleasure.
Thank you for everything that you do for us Cubans. We're proud of you.
It's been a pleasure on all that. And I'll trick you out of that camera too.
On the face of it, Havana is still the city of my youth, but already today I have sensed bubbles beneath the surface. Opening up this socialist country to private sector initiatives will change a lot. One still relatively new opportunity to earn money is letting private accommodation to tourists. Above the roofs of the city lies the Casa Rosa de Ortega, which was built by the married couple Julia and Silvio. When they inherited a grand but run-down mansion, both gave up their jobs to focus on the renovation and development of the house. Now they offer tourists luxury holiday accommodation. Standards this high are still an extreme rarity in Cuba.
We built a small romana here. It's almost like a jacuzzi, a bath in which to relax.
Was it one of your husband's ideas?
Yes, he comes up with these things. I take care of the day-to-day stuff. He makes plans for the future. He holds on to the dreams. This is Fernando.
Pleased to meet you.
Isn't that what you do with coffee?
Well, yes, why not?
I've never seen this before, but who cares? We're Cubans.
From now on, we'll drink coffee like this.
I was told that this is one of the very first places in Cuba to offer rooms for rent.
Actually, we were the first to be granted a license to do so. But we'd already started before the law changed.
Before it was legal.
There were already laws for private enterprise, but they ignored tourism. And in that sense, nothing was clearly defined. It was a long struggle lasting 10, 15 years, during which we lived on an absolute minimum. During that time, and taking steps ever so small, we renovated and extended the house. Now we're almost finished.
Did you finance it yourself?
Yes, but we also had a lot of support from friends.
There was a net of solidarity.
How has tourism here developed over the past years?
It's developed hugely. Cuba will soon be welcoming 110 scheduled daily flights from the US alone, 20 of which to Havana. And then there are the ferries and cruise ships that will be arriving each week. It's going to stimulate and develop the entire economy.
Am I right in thinking that we're going to make something to eat?
Let's go.
Can you cook? I can't.
Sure I can.
Well then.
We're cooking a typical Cuban dish for Fernando, using Cuban malangas. Malanga is a root or tuber, very much like potato. It's grated and then fried with onions, garlic, parsley, salt and egg. It tastes wonderful. It is served with rice a la chorrera, which is boiled in Cuban beer, and pork and coriander, which is indispensable in the Cuban cuisine.
Que es una especia que para nosotros en la dieta cubana es una sazón imprescindible.
And here it is.
Wow.
Espero que te
I
guste.
hope you like it.
Sí, señora. Muchas gracias.
Would you like some lemon?
Buen apetito.
Buen
Y en lo que
apetito.
ustedes hablan, yo voy...
Gracias. Sí, señora.
no estuviéramos
I could
haciendo
certainly
esto,
stay here for the
hablando
rest of
de
the
ella, a lo
evening.
mejor de lo que pasaba en mi trabajo, de lo bueno y de lo...
When night falls over Havana, however, I long to hear music. That's why I'm meeting one of the most famous and successful musicians of our time, Alexander Abreu. The Abdala Studios offer world-class recording technology. Cuba's biggest names have passed through its doors, and Wim Wenders shot Buena Vista Social Club here. How are you, Alexander?
¿Cómo tú estás, Alessandro?
I'm fine.
Ahí vamos.
How is your work coming along?
Todo bien.
Very well. I'm recording new material and continuing to develop my orchestra.
Haciendo música nueva y bueno, el desarrollo de la orquesta va bastante bien.
In the ears of people abroad, Cuban music ceased developing in about 1959. Do you think that economic liberalization of the country has made today's Cuban music more internationally marketable?
Yes, I think so. But that's not just down to economic liberalization. There have been many contributing factors. Cubans have been spreading out all over the world. And where Cubans go, Cuban music goes.
Do people approach you in the street to thank you for your music?
Yes, and that's really nice. It's because of my song, Me Dicen Cuba. They call me Cuba. The people here identify with the song. It's about what matters to us, our values, and what we're capable of. Despite all our suffering, we managed to retain our love of life, and that inspires others too. And when they understand, They start to love our island. That's very special indeed.
A million thanks, my friend.
Thank you.
Cuídate, mi hermano.
Feel it, Doc?
What an amazing musician, and what a wonderful end to the day. A new dawn breaks in Havana, and the universities are already a hive of activity. The education system was one of the most foremost concerns of the revolution in Cuba. Here, the maxim, education for all, is taken very literally. Nevertheless, a good education does not mean a good salary. If you aspire to a state job in research, for instance, you can expect a lot of hard work for very little pay. Nowadays, there are many creative scientists who employ their knowledge and skills to come up with original business ideas. Like Hilda Rodriguez, who manufactures beauty products in her own laboratory. The main ingredient of her creams is seaweed. Her place of work lies inconspicuously in a residential area of Havana.
Hola, Hilda.
Hello, Hilda.
Hello.
Thank you for inviting me over.
It's a pleasure.
I'm rather curious. You make innovative medicinal agents based on seaweed. Could you explain the process for me?
In our laboratory, we work mainly with various medicinal plants and seaweed concentrates. Until now, we've developed 16 products for 3 lines, for the hair, the face and the body.
Are your products known only in Cuba?
No, they're just known here. We have many friends who have recommended our products to others, including people from abroad, who have tried them and were very satisfied. We get a lot of positive feedback.
A Spanish magazine has recently shown an interest in Hilda's ecological beauty products, and she has successfully managed to employ her skills to build up a sustainable livelihood.
I always had the dream of owning my own laboratory and producing things that I create myself. I have a college degree in biochemistry and a master's in natural medicine and bioenergetics. I'm a homeopath and a therapist specializing in natural products with 25 years of experience.
Have you ever thought about sharing your knowledge with others?
We offer a number of summer courses to people who approach us, and we work with local people here in the neighborhood in order to educate them in health and prevention. So we do that kind of thing too.
Thank you once again for your invitation, and I wish you the best of luck for the future.
Ciao.
Now, of course, I want to know where the seaweed for Hilda's creams comes from. And to find out, I'm leaving Havana and heading to Playa Giron, better known as the Bay of Pigs. Hilda's husband collects the seaweed straight from the sea. Maybe he'll take me for a dive. Hey, how's it going, my friend?
Hello.
How are you?
Good, good.
Have you been working all morning?
Yes, I've been collecting seaweed.
You collect it for Hilda?
Yes, the seaweed is for Hilda's products.
Listen, would you mind taking me along sometime?
If you dare.
Yeah, of course.
Then let's go.
Ivan runs his own diving business. He shows tourists the diversity of Cuba's coast. Today, I have the privilege. Playa Giron lies in one of the largest wetland areas in the world, Zapata Swamp. Above all, Playa Giron is now a diver's paradise, and Ivan is an experienced guide. How long have you been collecting seaweed for Hilda?
The project with the seaweed started about 5 years ago.
Did she already know which seaweed she needed, or did you give her the idea?
No, it's all to her credit alone. I'm just the seaweed collector.
Tell me about your diving business.
We cater for tourist dives only, purely for recreational purposes. Our diving station is very environmentally aware. We don't fish the waters around here all year round. People come here to take photographs, go on excursions to the islands, and simply enjoy our coastal waters, which are among the largest nature reserves in the Caribbean. I simply liked the coast around here. At first, I only went diving in my spare time. But then I took part in many events, like one about underwater photography, for instance, and I discovered how beautiful our coastal waters really are. And since tourism in Cuba has been growing and growing, demand has steadily increased. So I said to myself, wouldn't it be a nice idea to share the wonderful world under the waves with the tourists? And, well, it also happens to be a way of earning money.
Okay, thank you very much. The best of luck to both of you and Hilda.
Thank you for coming to visit us.
I'd like to have stayed a little longer here on Playa Giron. But my next encounter is taking me back to Havana. There, I'm to meet a person who has a rather exceptional job, and I'm looking forward to it because she's very dear to me. It's my cousin, Susana, and in Cuba, she's a television celebrity.
Por eso te gusta, por eso me gusta a mí, ay, para querernos, para amarnos, noche por noche, día a día, cha cha cha. Baila mi cha, 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 rico cha. Oye, mi corazón. Baila mi cha, cha, cha. Cuando bailas este rico cha, cha, cha.
I meet Susana during filming at the TV studio, where they produce a typical series with long dialogues and big emotions. That's what Cuban telenovelas are like. Susana is playing in what is already her third series. I watch my cousin perform a very emotional scene.
I thought you would eventually offer me some support. And shall I tell you something?
Why are you treating me like this?
Shall I tell you something?
You called me and said, don't treat me like this.
Do you know you're a tramp?
I've had enough
You're
of
an
this.
old tramp, Amarin!
Are you forgetting who you're talking to?
Bravo, bravo.
How are you?
Fine.
That was a great scene.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Shall we sit down?
Sí, por favor.
Tell me a little bit about the telenovela.
We're best friends and are both studying psychology, but there's much intrigue between our families.
And Cuba's social problems, are they not addressed?
Oh, yes, they are, absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Both our characters are part of just that. They study psychology and are about to graduate. Many problems of Cubans are addressed. The topic living space, for instance.
That's very important.
But social and family conflicts too, and they involve almost all themes and topics imaginable.
Do you think that the viewers are able to identify with your characters?
We shall see what happens in Cuba.
We hope that there are lots of young women who are just as impulsive as the characters we play.
Is there currently a boom in co-productions between Cuba and other countries?
Yes.
Absolutely. There's a lot opening up at the moment. It's unbelievable. In the past 2 years, I've worked on lots of co-productions with other countries or on independent foreign productions. It's allowed now, and that makes me happy. And this is how it should be, because the contact with filmmakers from other countries, how Cuba is seen and how Cuba sees the world, is all very exciting. The stories, the films, the documentaries, yes, I'm very happy about that.
I hope for you both that even more foreign filmmakers discover Cuba and that you get many opportunities. And of course, that you become even more famous than you already are.
Well, this is still very much the beginning.
Susana may be a well-known actress. She still only earns about 120 euros a month. To supplement her income, she works as a waitress at the Havana Blues restaurant, which became famous after the award-winning film of the same name. On Susana's initiative, only actors and other film and television makers work here. The young artists wait tables and work behind the bar. The older ones as restaurant manager. Famous faces waiting tables. I can imagine it's a rather weird experience for the guests.
Nobody says, "Aren't you that actress? What are you doing here? Are things that bad?" Nobody sees it that way. They understand that we have to earn a little on the side, and that we don't mind that. In Cuba, being an actress is no different from being anything else. There's just one television channel and one film production company. We are many artists, and there are very few jobs.
So there are too many artists for the little work there is.
That's right. I hope that things will change soon.
Cuba is almost entirely offline. Only a very small section of the population can use the internet without restriction. The rest of Cubans have hardly any access whatsoever. If you want to go online, you have to go and find what are called hotspots. They offer WLAN for all, but they're only sparsely scattered around the parks and squares of the city, and it all doesn't work as smoothly as you might imagine.
The telephone company charges about 2 pesos for a connection card. It's the most expensive internet in the world.
So where's this being broadcast?
Not in Cuba.
Okay, then I'll talk to you. I'll tell you how it works.
You sell internet cards?
Yes, we're internet card sellers.
So, you've turned this into a little business?
Well, people can't buy cards in the evening, so they come to us. We provide them access. We earn 50 cents per card. Nowadays, though, there are more policemen for the card dealers than for real criminals.
If the police catch you, you get a €70 fine.
You can even go to prison.
You know how it works? If you buy the cards from a regular outlet, you have to wait in a very long queue. Nobody wants that, and that's what we're here for. We wait in line, buy the cards with our own money, and then we come here to sell them on. If you can, 15 or 20 cards at Texa, then you don't have to buy them from me.
But the government sells just 3 cards per person per day.
6 pesos for 3 cards, and you wait in the queue there all morning, then you can't go to work anymore.
You could be standing there for 5 hours.
How many cards do you sell a day?
Just 8 or 10 cards around here because there are a lot of dealers.
If you can only legally purchase 3 cards a day, how do you get hold of yours?
We stand in line here and then we stand in line there. You just go to another outlet and join the queue again.
So you buy them in the mornings and sell them in the afternoons?
Yes, you buy 7 or 10 or 12 cards in the morning and sell them in the afternoon.
Thank you very much. I hope that things will change for you someday soon.
So do we.
Internet availability is increasing only very slowly. There is a master plan in place, but it will only come into effect when a fiber optic cable reaches the country from Venezuela. Nevertheless, many people are preparing for new times. I meet a couple of entrepreneurs who have built an app with which they're already anticipating the future.
Mi nombre es Fernando.
John, mucho gusto. Estábamos aquí viendo el rediseño de la mesa.
We launched the A La Mesa project in 2010 in response to the shifting relations between the United States and Cuba. That's when we started thinking about the business model.
A ver la posibilidad de establecer un negocio.
A La Mesa is an app that lists and rates restaurants and bars. The most important thing about it is that it also works offline.
To begin with, the focus was internet. But a large proportion of the people we want to reach, and for whom we made the website, are Cubans with very little internet access. So we decided to adapt the technology to what is possible in Cuba.
Today, we rate more than 630 restaurants in 9 of the country's provinces. We have people in each of these provinces who know the area and work direct with the local restaurants. Obviously, we want to expand our presence to include all the country's provinces.
It's important to understand the logic. You can't be active globally if you're not pulling your weight locally. You can't expect to sell yourself all over the world if the service you're offering isn't known in your own country.
Was it hard to set up this project legally?
There were some problems at first, but we managed to overcome them. There are possibilities within the law.
A couple of changes to the law was very convenient for us.
There are many more possibilities for private enterprise in Cuba nowadays.
It was the genesis for A La Mesa. In 2010, a number of laws were abolished to make doing business independently easier. It led to the boom in Cuba's restaurant trade, but also created a legal framework in which we could launch our project.
What we really want is to operate as a proper business, but what we have at the moment is merely a license to work independently. I think that if things were thought through better and adapted to the needs of Cubans who want to get ahead, then that would solve many problems.
Now, of course, I want a restaurant tip from A La Mesa. The app proves itself in an instant. Cuban food on the seafront. I drive to our destination with Yondana. It's a wonderful place situated just beneath the fort. It's so beautiful here that tonight a wedding party has even descended upon it. The restaurant trade has become one of Cuba's most important economic sectors. Even though most Cubans can't afford to go out to dinner, business is booming, and that, of course, is down to the tourists. The La Divina Pastora is flanked by 18th century cannons and offers a fantastic view of old Havana. I'm looking forward to a quiet evening. What does the future hold for internet businesses in Cuba?
Good internet business ideas for Cuba require a lot of creativity. The infrastructure here is among the poorest in the world, and proper infrastructure is precisely what you need if you're going to develop business models that work over the internet.
Are there many people like you who have studied information technology, are highly qualified and yet have no work?
Well, I have friends who have decided to leave Cuba in order to find work elsewhere. But I know others too who have stayed. It's a personal decision. I think that anybody who wants to leave because they believe they can find their fortune elsewhere should have the opportunity to do so. But right now, there are more and more opportunities being created in Cuba too. Opportunities to do things, big things. Whether they'll be successful is a matter of creativity. First, we should analyze how the world really works. What are the dynamics outside Cuba, and how can they best be employed here? And that without losing sight of the fact that each and every project you embark upon should improve your country as a whole. Every initiative that you want to be successful with and that you want lots of people to use should also benefit the place where you yourself live, don't you think?
Yeah, I wish you the best of luck with Alamesa. Cheers.
Y vamos a hacernos un brindis. Y salud. Y a comer.
Cuba's future is uncertain, but my meetings here have made one thing quite clear to me. There are many highly educated people in Cuba for whom life is not merely about earning huge amounts of money. They want to do something for their country and fellow citizens in the process.